In this easy seascape painting involves creating coastal scenes using simple techniques like layering, blending and basic brushwork, often focusing on a clear horizontal line, soft clouds and textured water. Beginner-friendly methods, the using limited color palette, blue, light green for sandy tones, using brown, a few tools like flat brushes, round brush for creating waves and clouds, often best done in acrylic, layering and composition, building depth, creating wave texture. In this provides a simple step-by-step demonstration how to paint a basic ocean scene. Load our flat brush with pure blue and apply long horizontal strokes across the top third of our canvas. Mix a small amount of white into our blue to create a sky blue. Apply the directly below just 4 sections slightly overlapping the dark blue. The bottom layer, add even more white to our mix and just you move toward the horizon. The sky is naturally paler and less saturated at the bottom. While the paint is still wet, use long sweeping horizontal strokes to blend the section together. If the paint is dragging, add a tiny bit of water or more paint to our brush. Next I am adding a white clouds here. Just first I am going to paint a base for this. Wait for the background is dry slightly or work into while dab for softer edges. First I am going to make an outline. Use a same brush with slightly watered down titanium white. Use a tapping or small circular motion to create a one fluffy tops of the clouds. Keep the top edges of the clouds bright white and blend the bottom of clouds into the blue background to create shadows and depth. Now painting distance bushes on a horizontal line using flat brush, holding the brush vertically. Now I am painting horizontal line for a sea in acrylics. We need to create a perfectly straight divisions between the sky and the water to establish professional looking depth and realism. Add more green and little blue mixing well together. Dabbing techniques designed to create soft, textured and atmospheric effect. Key elements include using a limited color palette and irregular dabbing motions to suggest foliage without detailing individual leaves. The base layer, using a mix of our base dark color, dab gently along the horizontal line. Keep the pressure light and the strokes irregular to make the bushes look organic. Creating a texture, do not make a line solid. Dab outside the line randomly, allowing some of the sky color to show through, which creates the appearance of light distance foliage. I paint a water base, paint the ocean with a darker blue, but blending down to a little lighter green along with this near the shoreline to suggest shallow water. Creating the wave structure in mathematics symbol of the infinity curve, stretched of infinity symbol for the wave shape, the left loop in the main lighter crashing part while the right loop is lower, transitioning into the sea foam. Just blend the colors together starting from the sand and working up towards the deep water. Create a gradient from light green blue to dark navy. An acrylic painting, we can build new colors and create transparency, depth and gradation easily with layering. For this layering techniques, we need to wet each layer dry before applying the next. If we apply wet paint over a wet layer, the colors may blend in ways. Here I am painting the sand part. Paint the beach area using a mixture of yellow, little brown and white mixing well together. This acrylic paint just to create a sandy texture like this. Now highlighting these fluffy clouds with round brush size 4. Edge with white acrylic paint involves a technique of layering opaque, bright white over a dried base coat using a light soft brush movement. And the creating a soft edge, softening the edge, determine the sun's position and place the brightest white highlight on the side facing the light. Use more intense thick white on the topmost curves to suggest intense sunlight hitting the topmost fluffy parts. Here few points I am sharing. Just more defined highlights along the very top edge of the cloud. Just avoid drawing a whole line around the cloud. The edge should be soft and fluffy. Point 2. If you blend the white too much, it will disappear into the background. So keep the highlight distinctly whiter than the rest of the cloud. Point 3. Make the highlights irregular and rather than perfect circles to look realistic. Just use pure titanium white applied with small swirling or tapping motions to mimic the natural rounded puffs of a cloud, and use a small round and flat brush also your choice to do this. To make continuous tiny circles, this blends and white slightly into the background while keeping the very edge bright. Just highlighting our foam with white paint directly onto the crest for the wave, and apply white highlighting to the side of the wave curve to stimulate light shining through the water. Once the first layer is dry, add thinner, finer white lines to top of the foam to create more texture. Here the tips: establish a perfectly straight line with masking tape or a ruler. The first I am using the base for the darker blue. The horizon should have a least detail, so use small horizontal, almost invisible strokes to mimic distant gentle waves. When the sea and sky meet, keep the color soft, and water immediately below the horizon line should be lighter and gradually get darker as we move toward the foreground. So the ocean often reflects the skies. If the sky is light at the horizon, the water right below it should be similarly light blue, white, and make sure here also I am little green also I am adding here. Creating the layering and tape the shadows and lights. After the first layer dries slightly, dab a slightly darker muted color of the base of the bushes to add depth and shadow. Adding the highlights, lightly dab a lighter cooler muted tone and only on the top left and top right parts of the bushes depending on our light source. Softening the edges, and distance objects have soft edges. If the tabs look too harsh, take a clean dry brush or finger, just lightly tape the edges to soften them into the sky. Always keep in your mind keeping the dabbing height irregular for a more natural look, and keep the foliage texture very small and delicate on the horizon, and allow layers to dry slightly between application to prevent mud mixing.